Hey loves, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm back to recap another episode of Teen Mom Young and Pregnant. So this episode was really good. We actually got to see 2 more babies being born. There's just 1 more left. And yeah, so let's hop right into the episode. So the episode starts off with Brianna, and her and Danae discuss it's time to give baby Brayson a bath. I'm not sure if it's his first bath or not. And pretty much during the whole time of giving him his bath, they argue. I guess Brianna decided to take a washcloth and wash baby Brayson's hair with the washcloth, and Danae's just not having it. So they tend to argue a little bit about that. And after that scene, we go on to Brianna, who has like a separate scene, and she tells us that things have just been really rocky between her and Danae. Then we head over to Kayla, and she lets us know that she hasn't heard from Stefan in days, and she's actually due in a week, which is really unfortunate. So she goes off to a college, and she lets us know that she wants to start school in the spring, and she's interested in forensic psychology. The 2 counselors seem really sweet and seem to really encourage her. They tell her about a program which is pretty much designed for people that are starting college at a later time, and for young mothers and just people that have different things going on in their life that do want to complete their degree. It did sound really interesting, and she did sound like she was interested in it. And the nice thing is, one of the counselors was also a teen mom, so she could definitely relate to Kayla's situation. So then Kayla tells us at the end of her clip that she is nervous about all this because she is going to have a newborn baby. She is going to have to work part-time, and she's going to be in school. And I just want to say, Kayla, go on, achieve your goals. Take as much time as you want. Do what you got to do, sis. We head back to Lexi, and she tells us that her and Kyler have officially came up with a plan for when the baby is born with her and her parents. I guess they figured out how long Kyler was going to be staying, and then they still have not decided a name for the baby at this point. So they decide to put all the names in a head that they have thought about, and they're going to pick out the names, and whatever the last 3 names that are left are what they're going to have to pick out of. So I can't remember what the last 3 names were, but they did come down to it, and Kyler just still didn't seem too satisfied with it. So after that clip, Lexi tells us that she is in labor, and they go off to the hospital. I didn't really see how long they said her labor was or anything. It didn't look too intense or anything of that nature, but she did end up having her baby boy, and they decided to name him Tobias Lopez de Luna. Then we head back to Jade, and she tells us that her and Shawn just have not been getting along since he quit his job. It feels like she really cannot trust him anymore at this point. She feels like he didn't actually quit his job, that he actually did get fired. So she calls her mom to have a discussion, and pretty much just tells her mom that she feels like he got fired. She can't deal with it anymore. And her mom said, I just wish you would kick his A to the curb. And in my opinion, I just want to know, like, what happened from pretty much even last episode? What happened from last episode to this episode that just makes her feel like, he's dead to me? Like, I just don't get it. Again, it's probably all in editing and everything like that, but it just seemed like y'all just had a sweet moment. Y'all just had Chloe, then it went to she's not feeling like she's feeling depressed, then it went to him quitting his job, now it's kick his A to the curb. Like, it just seems like everything is moving really fast with them. So after she has a conversation with her mom, she then goes out in the living room where Shawn is, surprise surprise, playing his game, and she tries to have a conversation with him about telling him that she feels like he got fired. He was like, no, I did not get fired. Do you want to call my job? And they start to get in an argument, and Shawn basically says, I did all of this for you. So in my opinion, I feel like Shawn is like a typical guy that he doesn't really know how to communicate well. And I mean, honestly and truly, if he did not get fired and he did this for Jade, I can kind of understand it, because she was just telling him how she was feeling down and depressed. So I can get it, but you don't make those type of decisions without consulting your partner. Y'all live together, y'all pay bills together, you have a child together. You can't just get up and quit your job out the woodworks like that. You know, it needs some kind of conversation. So I can definitely understand where Jade is coming from, and then I kind of see what Shawn's doing. I mean, I'm trying to understand. When he tells her that he did all this for her, she yells BS Tobias and she tells him that she's getting out because they started to argue. She's leaving and she's going to take baby Chloe with. As she's walking out the door, he tells her, all right, have a good time, love you. And she doesn't say, I think she said F off or something like that. And at the end of that clip, we do see Shawn crying. The next scene is with Ashley, and honestly, oh my god, I felt so bad for Ashley just sitting here watching this clip. But on the way back from their little vacation that they had, she starts to have contractions, so her doctor tells her to come in. She's in labor all day long and she is in a lot of pain. So at a point we do see the doctor come in and talks about adjusting her epidural because obviously it was not working. So she then gets the epidural, but her baby is still not trying to budge, not trying to come out and join this world. She's just not dilating fast enough, and she had already been in labor for 25 hours. So the doctor comes back in and tells her that I can't remember, she or he recommends getting a C-section at this point because they don't want her or the baby to go into distress. And you know, at this point Ashley's just not with it, and I can definitely understand that. The next scene is with Brianna. We see her, baby Brayson, and Danae in her room chilling, and Danae basically tells her, go do some laundry, go wash some dishes. And Danae's like, I don't have any clean clothes. And I felt like Danae was playing at this point, but it was a serious joke, like, haha, go do that because I really don't have laundry, but I'm joking. You get what I'm saying? So Brianna is annoyed at this point, which I would have been annoyed too with that comment. And Brianna's just like, why don't you go do it? And Danae's like, no, I don't have to do that, I work. And I'm like, so that's what we're doing. I just felt like that was the most obnoxious comment that anybody can make. Like, okay, you work and I'm home with the baby. What are you trying to say? You know what I'm saying? Like, that shouldn't be a reason why you can't go put a load of laundry in, but it was rude. Brianna does get up unknowingly and gets the laundry and attempts to do it, and then Danae's just like, you know what, I'm gonna take Brayson outside. So he goes downstairs with the baby, try to get the stroller, and Brianna comes downstairs like, where are you going? Where are you taking my baby? And Brianna's like, no, you're not taking him outside. And as Danae walks upstairs, he says underneath his breath that Brianna is a petty A-B. They then have a conversation that then blows up, and Danae, of course, walks out. After 38 hours of labor, Ashley and everybody in the room, which I believe it was her sister, her mother, and Bart, all decide unanimously that Ashley needs to go ahead and have a C-section. So after 20 minutes of rolling Ashley back, baby Holly Isabella Lockett Smith is born. She is cute. I forgot to say this too, baby Tobias is definitely, all of the babies on this show are so cute and definitely give me baby fever for sure. Next scene is with Kayla. So she comes home after she had just got done visiting the college, and her mom is home. So she discussed with her mom her plans of what happened when she went off to the college, and she does tell her mom that she really has no intentions of being with Stefan. And I will say that in this episode and in this scene, I think I started to understand Kayla a little bit more. It seems like I think she desires a relationship with Stefan because she feels like that's the only way that he really will be around. From what I've seen from previous episodes, it does seem like Stefan is involved with his child's life so far, but I guess so far with him, well, I guess this past week with him being disappearing, it's starting to worry her. So I feel like she feels like she needs to be in a relationship with him because that's the only way she can get him to stick around and be around. Her mom basically tells her, like, you know, you need to put him aside because it just seems like every time something serious pops around, Stefan is nowhere to be found, which is extremely disappointing to hear. Her mom also suggests that they need to have a sit-down conversation with the three of them so they can set up the plans because Kayla is due in a week. And again, she talks about how she's just really worried that if she cuts Stefan off and just, you know, tries to just remain civil but not with him, that he's just not going to be around. So I'm so happy they included that part in because it helps us understand Kayla her life better and everything, because these episodes so far I've just been really annoyed with the fact that she just wouldn't let him go, but I kind of understand now where she's coming from. We then head back to Lexi, and her and baby Tobias are coming home. I wonder if they're gonna call him Toby for short, but they then come home and she is greeted by her mother, I think her grandmother, and her little brother, if I'm not mistaken, and everybody is just so excited to see the baby. You definitely see the love in that room. Everybody's so happy. Her grandma is now a great grandma, so it was really sweet to see. And Lexi also tells us in a voiceover that she's very grateful that Kyler has been there, and he's been there the whole time, because she doesn't know how she would get through this whole thing if she did not have Kyler. So the next scene is with Brianna. She tells us that things were really rough between her and Danae today before Danae went off to work, and then she has a conversation with her sister, and I feel like her sister explained it perfectly. She says that both Danae and Brianna do not know how to handle their emotions, and it turns up into a fight, which is something I definitely agree with, because it seems like both of them are really short-tempered, and they don't tend to listen to each other when one person is trying to talk and it turns up into this big old thing. I definitely agree with what the sister said. And Brianna then admits that she knows she's been a little bit petty, that every time they get into an argument, and you know, if Danae is holding Brayson, or if he tries to go outside with Brayson, that she takes him away from him. So she definitely acknowledges her wrong and says that she knows that if she wasn't mad, she wouldn't care if Danae took him outside. So I like the fact that she recognized that she was wrong, and she was ready to apologize to Danae for her actions. Then we head over to Jade. She is actually on her way to her friend's house to spend the night because she doesn't want to go back to her place. And once she has a conversation with a friend, she tells her that she feels like all Shawn does is play his game and take care of the baby, which in the clips we have seen, I agree, that's all we literally see him do is take care of the baby and play his game. Then she also reveals to her friend that she actually just wants Shawn to be a great dad, and she doesn't want to be with him anymore. So this kind of leads me up to the beginning of the series, when Jade pretty much told us that Shawn had chased her for a while and she didn't want to be with him. She wanted to be just friends. It just seems like this relationship, again, there might be other borderline things that have also just let her say, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. But it kind of seems like she's letting go of what they have really fast. Let me know if you agree with that, or you think I'm just tripping, because it just seems weird. Like, what has happened? We head back to Ashley's scene, and she tells us in a voiceover that Bar actually went home a little earlier because she has to stay an extra day because she had a C-section. So he went home a little earlier so he could get some rest before her and Holly came home. Then we see Bar is having a conversation with her mom and with his mom, and I must say this conversation was really nice. His mom basically was just asking him how does he feel since he is a first-time dad, and she feels really bad that she couldn't be there because out of all of her grandchildren, this is the one and only one that she has missed. She also says that she felt really sad and really upset to hear that Ashley went through all of that during her labor, and she says that I actually shed a tear despite all of the history Ashley and I have. So one thing I will say, now that we've gotten past the initial fighting, to be very real, I don't want to be the one to say things, but sometimes that makes me feel like that was a little bit staged. I do agree his mom's probably very overbearing and her and Ashley have a sour relationship, but everything seems good now until it's not, right? So the fact that she can even feel sorry for Ashley, I will say she is human for that. So hopefully they can work out their relationship, even though I know the answer to that, but hopefully they can work it out for the baby. Then we go back to Ashley and Pastor T. They are actually on the way home, and she's asking Ashley how does she feel about being a mom now that she's responsible for life. And Ashley says, you know, it still hasn't hit me yet, which I can definitely understand. It didn't hit me for a while that I was a mom and that I was responsible for a life. Pastor T also says that she definitely sees the good in Bar, and that she sees that Bar has stepped up a lot. So that was good to see that everybody can come together We go back to Brianna, and Danae is back home from work, down on the couch to have a conversation, and Brianna admits that she was wrong for always taking Brayson away from Danae. Then Danae talks about how the whole situation makes him feel. He definitely feels in that moment when Brianna takes Brayson away from him that, you know, he's really not his father, and it really does hurt his feelings. And I felt bad for Danae at that point because I could definitely understand how he felt at that moment. Of course, the conversation then gets rowdy because neither one of them want to listen to what the other person has to say, and it ends up in an argument, and it does not end well. And then Brianna pretty much says, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm just like, what is going on in this episode? Why is everybody dropping their significant others like flies? So in the last part of the episode, Jade tells us in a voiceover that her parents called her in the middle of the night and said they had nowhere to go. So Jade allowed them to come and stay at her place. So she comes back home with baby Chloe, and her parents are still sleeping at this point. Her and Shawn try to have a conversation, and you know, she tells him she doesn't want to do this anymore, that this relationship is messy. And he's like, well, we can fix it. And she's like, I don't want to fix it. I'm like, damn. That was a little bit harsh, and Shawn gets really upset. We actually see him boo-hoo, which was a little bit different. I didn't think it was going to come out of him. You can tell Shawn really cares for Jade, and I think if he could go back and not play his game as often and pay attention to Jade and do more family oriented things with her, I think they could have salvaged their relationship. But at this point, Jade's done. That is the end of the episode. What do you all think about this episode? I think it was just really, I thought it was a great episode. We got 2 new babies. Everything seemed to be good, except with the exception of everything with Brianna and Danae's relationship, as well as Jade and Shawn's relationship. But stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye, y'all.